Alright. Yeah.
Come on, screen transition. There we go. Hello and welcome to our 10th Twitch Q&A session. Thanks for joining us here at the DarkOrbit Twitch studio. I'm Flips, you know me, I'm one of the community managers for DarkOrbit. And with us tonight, from left to right, is Hobia, one of our game designers. Next to him, the other person spotting the bunny ears, is our lovely Jörg, our other community manager. And on the couch, Sergey, you all know him, you all love him, our lead game designer, who does all the amazing work.
Not all the amazing work.
I mean, yes, but
more or less direct
yes,
some of the amazing work, so that's the extent.
he's amazing, that's the takeaway. So tonight, we're gonna have some more giveaways, because all of you really enjoyed the giveaways last time, and we have heard your voices, you all wanted discount coupons. We have discount coupons today, isn't that great? Our two lovely moderators in the chat, actually we have three today, we have a new moderator, everybody welcome DarkOrbit Lura to the team, are gonna be handing them out randomly. You do not need to post anything, nothing in the chat. Just by watching you can randomly win a code, and then you have to check your Twitch inbox. Yes.
The urban legend that copy pastas help you, but...
Yeah, but it's not actually the case, so... Just check your Twitch inbox, and there will also be a little message in-game who won. So you can just watch out for Moobot saying something, and he will tell you who won. Nothing else you need to do. No need to spam. Yeah, and as always, Q and a column, and then your question will help us easily, see your question. So take it away, guys.
Like this one. Will there be new quests? Yes.
Yes. yes. Yes.
Yay!
will
First
always
one
be new
answered. This is
quests.
good.
That is like every time we have an event, there are new quests.
Yes.
We also want to make some permanent quests, as we said multiple times before, and I'm not sure like when exactly it's going to happen, but it's not like it's not too far away. We will try to squeeze it in somewhere soon.
I just have to apologize. The wire in this thing just makes me go crazy because it's just like... Alright, so that was the Easter egg for this stream.
You look fabulous, by the way.
Thank you. That is nice.
That's why those two guys are on the same couch.
Yes. Oh, okay.
By the way, this guy to my right, I don't even know him. Maybe you could introduce him?
Yeah, sure. So, ladies and gentlemen, please have a huge welcome for Hobio, who joined us from Shards of War team. And that is a very significant addition to our design team, because it kind of goes hand in hand with the direction of combat mechanics and of generally like the direction of stuff that we want to do with the game. And I would really love to give Hobio the chance to talk about this a bit more.
So yeah, basically coming from Shards of War, which was sort of a really action PvP based game, my primary focus is gonna... My primary focus is going to be on the
Now
gameplay
come
side.
closer.
Could we just simply focus on the...
So sorry, yeah, but
So yeah,
it was just so interesting.
my primary focus is going to be on the gameplay side. So coming forth in the coming, well, X amounts of months or whatever, however we will fit those stuff in, I'll be exploring itemization. So just a quick thing, which is like don't think like more power, but more like more diverse itemization. So making the combat or like both PvE and PvP more interesting in terms of, hey, what items do I use in what situation, what items are good against other items, and what items are good against specific ships, or what items are good on specific ships, just to give you more sort of way to play around with itemization and the gameplay in general. Yeah.
So the goal is to make sure that there is diversity and some level of complexity in decision making, because we don't want to say, hey, here is another item that is more powerful than everything you have.
That infamous LF5.
Well, yeah, in a sense, if you want to put it this way, like here is an LF5 and it's more powerful than anything you have, and that's an obvious choice. What we want to do is less obvious choices. That means you can pick this item which has this particular advantage and this particular trade-off, or there is another item that has this particular advantage but the other trade-off. And the new ships that we are preparing now, and the new ships that we are also planning to get in the game moving forward, are like we are thinking already in terms of like, okay, if this item is combined with this ship, this will create an interesting combo that will be countering this particular setup that is countering the other particular setup. So that's basically like creating an environment where players can experiment a lot more with horizontal kind of like diversity of items, not just saying, hey, if I get this thing and this thing and this thing on top, I will be the most powerful player like on my server.
So that would always also help. So this diversity will also help the kind of end game that we already have, like
Of course.
PvP. Like then you can specialize on something.
So basically, we're trying to make the combat more interesting in terms of, hey, this time I'm playing the Goliath ship, for example, and my playstyle is this, so I basically start attacking and use my insta shields and whatnot. And that other time, for example, I'm using the Aegis, and I'm trying to basically go in, deal some damage, then go out, try to heal up, and then go back in and deal some damage. So basically trying to break up the combat of we just clash.
I've seen you've been playing around with the idea of some kind of a new laser type. Maybe you want to elaborate on that. I mean, we all know we have a laser LF1, LF2, LF3, LF4, and they just get stronger. So what would be the difference between that new idea and what we already have in the game?
So the most natural way of thinking when we came into this was basically, okay, how do we, what's the easiest way to make the combat more diverse? And the answer was basically add a new laser that breaks or changes the attack pattern. So right now, you basically, the laser attack at least is just one attack per second, right? And then you have some rockets and rocket launchers on top, but so the basic attack pattern is just once per second. So we're thinking, okay, what are the parameters that we can change with laser itemization that would make a more interesting approach? So there are some parameters like range is some big thing, then cooldown, so not once every second, but maybe twice every second or once every 5 seconds. And so basically we're playing around with these parameters that will change the way that your attack works. And then we have to think, okay, if we have this secondary attack pattern, what ships would benefit from this, and what, like, against what ships would this be good and stuff like that. So it's a very complex sort of scheme, but so we have to be careful and be like, okay, we do one thing at a time and not to overdo it. But that's basically the direction we're going in right now.
Nice. So it's like in other games where you have either slow, hard damage dealing weapons and other like fast daggers that you can use multiple times a second but just deal less damage. But this damage over time idea, is that behind this?
Well, there are certain, like, the idea is to make to create certain synergies, not hard synergies but soft synergies, so as to create, like, let's say we have a laser that attacks 3 times per second, and then we have maybe a CPU that says every time you hit an enemy you deal an additional 1% of the maximum health damage. Now on the laser that it shoots once per second, that would not be as good as on a laser that shoots 3 times every second. So that's sort of a hard synergy, but it's just an example of sort of how we can create these type of synergies. And
Nice.
especially going forward with ships, like itemization is one thing, but itemization combined with ships and ship abilities will be the primary focus of this diversity.
Cool. And let me guess, all these new things would then cost tons of money to buy them in the shop, like 15 euros?
No. A simple answer is obviously no. The as we have said, we are aiming to make sure that we backfill the item progression, not only like saying, hey, there are these items that are top items and you have to get them, you have to buy them, and so on. We are aiming to experiment with diversity and kind of like horizontal progression. That means that we are creating like a family of items or like a set of items. Let's say if we talk about these new lasers, we are aiming at creating steps or like several stages of this laser. So some of that will be even available to the new players so that they can adopt a new play style right away. And some of these lasers will be available for Iridium. And we also exploring further possibilities on like we have assembly system which now is enormously powerful, and we want to empower players to craft new items in assembly and offer some items that can only be crafted in assembly. So like only through this particular gameplay of crafting you will acquire this thing. But we also like we will not say that, well, we are not selling it for money, but we will have the opportunity for the players to go I don't know, there are we sometimes put ores on sale in the shop, so there will be opportunities for players who don't feel like, oh, there's too much grind or so on. There will be opportunities to cut corners and such, but we are still aiming for, as we said, and it's like for several years this topic is going on, we are still aiming for making sure that there are ways of acquiring certain items, and some items which we make super exclusive are exclusive not only in terms of like if you count the amount of effort, it's very hard to get it, but the exclusivity also comes from the like if the player is skilled, is able to optimize the game, or is able to go through enormously difficult gates or something like that, then he's entitled to get some awesome thing, not just by the size of the wallet. But we also like we realize that we need to make sure that
it's persistence.
Well, we like the persistence of the player, but we need to make sure that people who want to save time and cut corners are able to do so. But we are unwilling to kind of like overdo it and say, yeah, here is a thing, it will cost you X euros if you want it, it's the best thing ever. That's actually the philosophy of horizontal progression, in the sense like there is a variety of stuff. You have to be able to acquire it, to experiment with it, to realize, okay, this works best with this ship, this works best with this ship, and making it accessible is one of the main, well, kind of like one of the main requirements for the system to work. If the stuff is accessible, then everybody is able to experiment and find new combinations. If it's not accessible, then, well, either it's exclusive and super powerful, or nobody will just use it. So that it's not worth our time even to design it.
So introducing all that stuff also means that you have to look and maybe touch and kind of as far as synergies go, rebalance existing ships and items, or are you focusing on adding new that will counterweigh existing?
That's a very interesting question. So balancing is a very interesting topic for PvP games especially. And in the past, usually what we have done, like there are basically multiple ways to do this. What you just said, there's basically just tuning specific things that are too strong. There's adding something that counters or is good against this specific thing. And, well, the other thing is that what we have to realize is as we build this sort of system where like there are certain things better against other things, we have to see basically because there's always an intention that we are saying, okay, we think that this item works well with this ship, and there's an assumption, right? But then there's also something that the players experiment with, and suddenly they come up with something that we never thought of, and it's super strong, right? So there's sort of a metagame that will inevitably somewhat evolve. Like, I don't know, people are using this laser with this ship and that particular shield, and that's why, I don't know. And based on this metagame, we'll have to figure out.
I have to excuse myself. Sorry.
Oh yeah, based on this particular metagame, we will have to figure out the course of action that is most fitting.
Now we have all the power.
Yes.
Very good.
So basically, like the idea is that we as we go in this direction, and I think I've mentioned it before in some other Twitches, that we will probably not be able to shy away from saying, you know what, this particular thing or this couple of ships, we need to buff them, and this thing we need to nerf, because when we start adding horizontal diversity, that means that we will be shaking up tactics, the combat tactics a bit, and there will be some new tactics emerging that will be unexpectedly powerful. And it's just, we are not saying that is bound to happen, but we have all the experience from other projects, and we have all the experience from the games we ourselves play, that we see that happens ever so often, and sometimes an unexpected synergy occurs, and you have to go in as a designer and say, hey, we are hoping that players will have a diverse amount of combinations to counter each other, not this one powerful thing that everybody just has to have. So that's why we just need to make sure that every time we add a new thing, we carefully observe how it works, and we are ready to make changes to that thing we introduce and to other things that are already in game to maintain diversity and fair play.
Apologies. I seem to have caught a cold, and
not to worry, we have we managed. We managed.
Well,
Barely.
yes. Apologies for this disruption.
Well, it's the 10th anniversary Twitch. It has a lot of surprises.
10th anniversary.
Nice.
Well, it's the 10th year of DarkOrbit, and it's the
Yeah.
10th stream.
10th stream.
Oh
Like
man,
it's 10th
year of 10th.
anniversary stream, not
Amazing.
Yeah, whatever.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
let's go
The,
on.
the DarkOrbit 10th anniversary stream.
Is on the 10th anniversary of DarkOrbit, which is in December.
Exactly. And I think we have a lot of things to present until then. We teased like we wanted to talk about the roadmap. Maybe we can just insert that here.
Well, yeah. So what's waiting in the next, I guess, like 5.5 months this year
Events.
is, yeah, there will be a lot of exciting events which will finally kind of like shed a bit of light on this very mysterious faction that's called Mask, and we are all very interested in how things will develop, and we hope that nobody will be disappointed at the things that are about to be revealed. We are aiming to expand the assembly system further with all the events. There will be stuff coming in the assembly system. It will become more diverse, more interesting to play with.
We were planning to do the Project Nano next week.
Yes, the events that are upcoming, as we have always kind of like shied away from naming particular dates because I don't know, superstition, but generally like there are events planned for this, like this month there is an event planned. We have plans for next month event, which will be more focused on like adding some new layers to assembly. The month after next there is an event that that focuses a bit around the story of a Simon race and explores that one a bit, and Hobio is here, who is the main driver of that event, and that
We're also looking at the next round for the high tech.
yeah, so
That's definitely coming.
that's something that is coming, and obviously the biggest thing that is going to happen this year in terms of events is 10th anniversary, which we hope will be very interesting for everybody, and we basically aiming to make it a notable occasion that everybody will remember, and we will remember as well. On top of that, as we have said repeatedly, we are focusing on delivering those 2 ships that we have teased, and we
Much
have
too early.
yeah,
as
yeah.
we now had
well,
to.
like yeah, the thing is that as we have discussed, I think in one of the Twitches, this is one of the things that we have started to to go in the directions that we have not touched or like that we have not considered before, and we are expanding in these directions which have not been touched, and we haven't released the ship in quite a while, and we want to make sure it's as good as possible. So we iterate on it, we fix it. We are aiming to show Tartarus very soon in open beta, and Mimesis is the next thing to happen at some point. So there are more ideas that we're exploring now, and there are more stuff that is being kind of like worked on as we speak by art and tech departments. So there will be more on that front. And on top of that, we are focusing on tools that would allow us designers to work on all that stuff with a lot like higher effectiveness, that would allow us to create more new abilities, new NPCs. Well, and then basically everything, every piece of content that is currently in game should be easier to create and to iterate upon and to play with. When we have that, we will open hopefully like enormous possibilities in expanding in every possible direction that we are now. It's like we are carefully going, okay, we are thinking about a new laser, we are thinking about a new ship here, a new mechanic there. When we spend time and we basically make sure that we have all the proper tools, we'll be able to go, okay, we are doing a lot more experimentation, we are doing a lot more iterations. It will be a lot easier to go on open beta, for instance, and then completely change the mechanic of something and then go on open beta again in 2 days, and then so like we're aiming to create a system where we can iterate on content a lot faster, that would allow the tech part of the team to focus on a lot of other issues that we have discussed. We have also we have not dropped the topic of server population. We have, as we have talked, we have now explored all the possibilities that are on the table, and we will be discussing a concept of that solution, I think, very, very soon, this week, probably like internally. And once we have locked it down, as we said, once we have locked the plan down, we'll be able to talk more about this. And of course, the one of the main parts that kind of like goes in every event as a kind of like an underlying topic is the thing that Hobio was talking about, is diversity in combat, and not only the diversity in specific mechanics or abilities that is given to players, but also NPCs, and the diversity in PvE combat at some point as well.
Like more NPCs? Different NPCs?
Let's listen to the specialist.
So yeah, there's a number of things that we want to do, and there's some things that are already sort of in the works. There's new NPCs, but also we want to change the way. So the problem I personally have with the NPCs right now is they're very, very similar in their attack patterns. Like there are some that are different, like the Cubicons with the Protogeets, the spawns. You know, that stuff where you have to think differently about it and not just go and hit. You know, and that's the idea, that we basically create both with new NPCs, but also with maybe changing the way that existing NPCs work, sort of change the attack patterns as well, so that you have to be able to, like, it's not just circling around and shooting, it's more like, hey, sometimes I have to circle the other direction, or sometimes I have to go away and back in again, like, basically just make it more interesting. But that expands also onto, like, galaxy gates and stuff like that, so all the PvE content.
Nice. So we're getting new NPCs, new items, new designs, all shiny, bright, and new. So when will it happen?
Soon. We like, as I said, we unfortunately, like, the process of development of, especially in these areas, like, as you guys might have noticed, we generally have already like established ability to provide quests, bonus box, stuff like that. When we start now producing a lot more diverse content, we are facing things that we have to touch on the parts of the code that have never been touched, like in several years, or so many of the things that many of the things that we do now this year especially are like we are going in the deep vaults of like legacy and opening and dusting up and so on, and like, oh, nobody has like any idea of how this code works, but we have to refactor it in order to be able to do new, interesting, and exciting stuff. So, and that makes it very difficult, because if we say like, oh, this coming at this date, and then in process of development, and that what usually happens in process of development, we come across some difficulty that we have to refactor the whole part of that particular system. It adds, I don't know, a month of work there, and now the dates are through. So we prefer,
like with the Mimesis,
Yeah.
where we weeks ago said, yeah, we're 80% ready, and now we found out that the remaining 80% take a bit longer.
yeah,
We want to introduce new skills with that, and because new skills mean new code, means it has to be made compatible with the old one. So
it has to interact with each other. There are parts that are custom built that are supposed to be generic and so on. Though
Yeah.
there is a lot of stuff, and I'm really like I really want at some point to drag a developer here who can talk about this in more like in less lame language. But that's like that's just how it is.
but then again, I mean, there are voices here who say that, okay, why don't we fix stuff before we introduce new
Well,
mechanics?
that's the
features?
thing. Like we do fix the stuff, and I mean that's one of the reasons of some delays that happen, because with we only have so much people, and I don't say that our team is quite large, but still it's a finite number of specialists, and that means that at some point when something happens or something unexpected goes wrong, we have to switch to fixing those problems, and switching to fixing those problems makes a certain delay in the timeline of production of new features. So that's why sometimes it takes so long, because we switch from something that kind of like blows up on live instances to fix it urgently, and then we go back to working on the feature, and then something else happens, and then we go back to working on the feature. And I can understand the frustration from some players who say like, oh, this particular bug hasn't been fixed for I don't know, several months, or you have announced this feature and haven't released it yet, and so on. But that's precisely why why it happens, because sometimes we have to switch to make sure that the new feature is delivered and players can play it and test it and give feedback. And on the other hand, sometimes we have to fix some bugs that just break the game, and we have to then it means that we delay certain releases. So that's just how it works.
It's part of the
Yeah.
balancing process.
It's a balance we have to keep up. It's basically,
Yep.
do we want exciting stuff in the game, or do we want the bug fixes that are, well, usually not very exciting to the player. It's more like, it's awesome that they're fixed, but it's not something where like, oh, let's play.
But
it's
then,
awesome.
but then again, from the perspective of one of our players, it's like, okay, they have like introduced this great system, and now we've played around with it, and it doesn't work. So instead of fixing this, they introduce something new.
That actually, though, is interesting, because just like with the balancing, there are different approaches to fixing stuff. One is just fixing it outright, but sometimes that's not actually the most elegant solution. Like for some features that are broken, something that we want to talk about later, for example, which is the multi-company clans, is a feature that is, I mean, it's technically working, but it's broken in terms of it's creating frustrations and whatnot. But the best course of action is not just taking it out, because that would just, it would be boring, and people that enjoy doing this is actually, it's just not a good plan, but rather
Because that
adding
means
something on
taking
top.
stuff
Yeah,
away.
exactly. That's not, nobody likes being taken away stuff, right?
Yeah.
So instead, we are looking for more elegant solutions that are more like, hey, let's add this feature that will complement the previous thing that was broken and sort of fix it in a different way. And sometimes that's not really like super visible, but we're really trying to do that as well.
Yes.
I'm speechless. I actually am speechless. I mean, that was a really good explanation I was always looking for. I mean, many times I know exactly that we can't do things, or we can't just like rush things, like repairing a certain specific bug or feature or something, but we know that you guys are there who come up with ideas to actually expand on the idea and make it more fair by just simply, not simply, but by well, taking the weaknesses and plugging them
Yeah,
kind
well,
of creatively.
The main part of this is that, like, in the most cases, you have the feature that is controversial. It's not like when something is broken and is broken objectively, let's say, like, that's just not how it's supposed to work and so on, there is little hesitation. In this case, or like with the multi-company clans, or with any similar feature which is controversial, so some players like it, some players don't like it, and there is a reason for both approaches, like for likes and dislikes. What we tend to do, like what is our common design team philosophy here, is that just bluntly shutting stuff down, or just taking it or cutting it out, or just closing it, or just kind of like denying it or saying that is forbidden, is not the best solution, because it does not bring any value. It basically removes value from certain point of view, because some people lose stuff. It doesn't bring anything to the people who work, even for the people who were complaining, because in a sense that's just something that, like, I don't know, the annoyance is gone, but maybe it's not even gone as such. So the approach that we are trying to take is that we are trying to find a way to make it understandable and make it logically working, that, oh, you have a feature that some players don't like. It might mean that they perceive it as unfair, or I don't know, they perceive it as somehow given an unfair advantage or disadvantages for them personally. Then we have to figure out how do we divide players in specific groups and figure out how this feature works for each specific group, and then we can find an elegant solution which would make sure that every group that is affected by feature realizes advantages and disadvantages of that feature. And I mean, this is basically the approach that we are trying to take with multi-company clans. As I think we have said before, the multi-company clans is not, we kind of like briefly talked through the roadmap, kind of like on the next several months, and as you can see, it doesn't feel like it's the biggest top priority. And again, why the priority is this? Because we feel like we always pick the things that we think will bring the most impact or the most value for the current state of the project. And we feel like, for instance, diversifying combat or bringing new events or building design tools is bringing a lot more value than fixing multi-company clans. But at some point we'll get to that, and when we get to that, our philosophy would be figuring out, like, it's quite understandable why people play multi-company clans. Why do they enjoy it? Because it allows you to create an enormously powerful clan that can dominate the whole server or something. But what we aim to kind of like explore in this case is, what then would it mean to be in a multi-company clan? What advantages and disadvantages does it give? And on the other hand, the players who select or who choose to be in a company-specific clan, they have also to have specific advantages or disadvantages. Like, we know, okay, if I'm in a company clan, I can do this, this, and this. But if I'm in a multi-company clan, I can't do that. But I have something else instead. Maybe the very ability to be in a multi-company clan is a trade-off for some disadvantage that players would have.
That reminds me of the idea that we had a couple of years ago, the battle for influence that we haven't run in a while now. That was something that we wanted to go into the same direction, didn't we?
Yeah, we briefly talked about this loyalty concept that kind of like comes up every now and then. And then again, like, some people did ask me even on Discord about this, and I can say, yeah, no, that's not off the table. It's not just on the top of the list right now, but theoretically, I'm not saying that's what we're going to do, but I'm saying that's the direction or like a philosophical approach that we would like to make. Okay, if you are in a company clan, it has to be recognized by your faction somehow. It has to bring certain advantages. But if you're in the multi-company clan, you don't have that recognition because you, I don't know, you are from Venus and you deal with Earthlings or with Martians or whatever. But on the other hand, you are able to, I don't know, go somewhere specific where others are not allowed because you are, I don't know, gray, you are not a particular color or whatever. So it's just a question of how do we make it relevant mechanically and how do we make it fair mechanically, because currently there is no mechanical wrapper around it. It's just, oh, you can go and join a multi-company clan. It's not, it doesn't feel like it was thought through completely. And now there is a pause.
Jesus Christ, you guys.
We pause and dance.
I just needed to inform someone here that all the questions about server merges and stuff you already addressed. Like good moment to remind everyone that we also post this stuff on YouTube, so you can watch it there again as many times as you want. There is a archive function here on Twitch. So all that information is not just lost, but
we can remind. I think it's Twitch number 4. We have addressed that topic specifically very, very thoroughly on Twitch number 4, and even though it was a while ago, the information there is still correct. Those were the areas we have explored by now already, and these were the premises we are basing our current approach on. Like those were the kind of like the arguments we are dealing with at this moment. So if you are interested, you could re-watch that one to see which areas we have explored, and then you will be, I think there will be a better idea of what solutions are we going to put forward. And as I said, once we have that concept locked down and it goes into planning and so on, then we can be able, we are able to share more details about that.
and maybe then we will also put the actual name of the project that we then how we call it then into the name of the Twitch stream, so people will actually know and watch us again when we then just like present the final results of our investigation. All right, so oh, can we in the future transfer items from player to player? From my point of view, I would strongly say no, because of our very valuable stuff like LF4s, where people spend ages and ages and ages to get a full set. Don't give that away, people. Keep it.
So I mean, yeah. The thing is that server, like the item transfer is problematic because we feel that it would create opportunities for misbehavior, like I don't know, black market of items and so on, and that's really not what we want, because it will be enormously hard to control. And we know that we basically know that there is a certain amount of like shadow activities going on around DarkOrbit, and we are always in constant battle with that stuff. We want to make sure that the game is as fair as possible, and this mechanic of item transfer, it feels like it just adds to a list of problems that we have to deal on a daily basis to make sure that well, the rules are abided by and nobody breaks the law and nobody is able to get unfair advantage. So that's like, I know that might be a good idea on the surface. It feels cool that you can help your friend here, have some LF3s or whatever, but that at this point in time we are not comfortable with this idea. I feel like it opens a Pandora box we will not be able to control.
Yes, let's try and close the other ones first.
All the Pandora boxes
like-
that have been opened so far.
Yes,
yeah.
like that one moment when we decided to make designs to full-blown ships and completely ignored the fact that we have PvP quests that require you to kill a Goliath, a standard Goliath, which are almost not flying in the game anymore.
Well, we didn't ignore that fact, to be honest. We basically just decided to go forward with the change and then change the quests later. It's just taken, like, the iteration is just taken a bit more time than we have
It's a
expected.
prime example of what you said earlier, which is like if we would have fixed that before, the feature would have been delayed by like another 4 weeks
Yeah.
or however long it takes to fix that again. So
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but I mean, we have a solution for that, and again, like as we have announced at some point that we have increased our design team capacity, and one of the people who are the increase is Hobio, and he was working on specifically that solution to fix the PvP quest, and that is also.
I remember seeing that email. That was you, indeed.
So yeah, I mean, from our side, we already have a solution that will work, but we are now just need to make sure that it's done properly. And as I've said, in the recent month, there was a bit of, it was a bit too hectic. There was a lot of stuff that needed urgent attention, so we have to switch to that. Now it feels at least like, hopefully, that things are simmering down and we have more control over what happens, and the developers are now switching to the regular tasks, and one of these.
Oh yeah, before they switch back to regular tasks, CBS modules, huh?
Oh, that is actually on the table. Like we have raised this
Yeah.
topic again recently, and that's luckily that's under control, and that will be done soon. We know all the players who have suffered from this, and that's something that will be covered.
Do we have an ETA for the PvP quests? Of course, then yes, no, no
like,
ETAs.
we can't share. We can't do any ETAs at the moment.
But
That's something that will be communicated by you as
Yes,
soon as we
yes.
have.
I mean, the thing with that is just that we have this urgent and critical bugs that we had to fix, which was taking up quite a lot of time from the developers. Then, of course, we needed to finish working on the ships. Tartarus, I seem to remember we wanted to put this in open beta sometime later.
Yes. So like as I've said in the last Twitch, we have changed the balancing because we were not happy about the kind of like how competitive is this particular ship on the top end of the ships, and
Yep.
we hope that these changes are now good. So we will be looking at them this week, and if everything goes correctly, then we will go in open beta very soon. But I mean, as always, we are happy and we are comfortable announcing dates when we're super certain.
When we have the QA handover.
Yeah. When we have a QA handover and when we have a QA approval that our internal quality assurance masters say, yeah, that's
it's-
ready. That can be.
Along the same lines, so PvP quests are going to be introduced when we have stuff, when we just have the actual the recent stuff ready, which is the new event, the Project Nano. When we have when we delivered the fixes and the compensation for the CBS. So yeah, compensation for CBS. That's something that's also keeping us from developing other things. So yeah,
Well, it's constant juggling, basically. Like we were juggling this stuff, and at this moment in time, we just have too many balls in the air sometimes. And as I said, my personal hope is that once we have dealt with all the stuff that has somehow been like unstable or broken in the last couple of months, we will be able to deliver things a lot quicker, like deliver things that we are talking about a lot quicker. That will be a lot more comfortable for us as well, because I mean, like nobody likes to be late, and we are like
We're
as
constantly
everybody.
late.
Yeah. No, yeah, but I mean, if you don't announce the time, you're kind of not late, but still.
It's this just expectation
Yeah,
from
sure,
everyone. So we would like to see that in the game. You are saying that you want to do this, but I just can't wait to get my hands on it, you know?
Yes.
That also, I just feel really bad about that. It's just 3 letters, you know?
Okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
No.
Let me just touch that. As Hobia has said, that JPA is one of the things that also feature into this server merge thing, because the way the JPA was handled before was that people from different servers were put onto one map. If we now have these concepts for merged maps, servers, whatever we would call it, then we can talk about bringing back some kind of big event like that, because then the technical what's it called again? The technical
Feasibility.
it's feasible, and we have a basis for that,
Yeah.
from which we then can work.
Foundation. Yeah.
So this is the last time I am mentioning the JPA. We're not talking about this until the server population issues have been dealt with.
Yeah. So, I guess I mean just a very quick note. I understand the interest, but we also have to consider that we know how many players who are actually using the JPA, and that's one of those things where we say, yeah, okay, if we bring it back, just bring it back as it was,
Yes.
it will involve a very small percentage of people who are very loud and vocal, yes, but still, we know how many players even tried to use it. It's not even like who actually played it, because that number is even smaller. So
Yes.
what we want to do, we want to create an event in the future, or something like that would be a lot more interesting and accessible for broader audience, not just for, oh, there is like 100 people in all DarkOrbit population who are very skilled and like that top tier players, and that feature is specifically for them. We want to make sure that that is more open, more accessible, more fair. It doesn't mean that we don't want our top players to be able to show their might,
Yes.
but we would like
their
to.
wallets.
We would like to. No,
Yes.
not that. We would like to be able to say that these players have another opportunities. Like we will want to explore further, like the way that the tournaments are handled and so on, because generally, like,
Yes.
I would really like to have to see that there is a big competition between the best of the best of the best.
Yes.
But that is a unique thing, and it has to be like big. It has to be awesome. It has to be Twitch streamed and commented in many languages and so on.
As we have
Yeah.
done, our Turkish colleagues have done lately. They have been trying out international tournament. We're now wanting to see how this works if we do it with another setup, with another set of rules, etc., etc. So Flips, can you remember how's the state on that?
Give me a word. I was busy reading chat.
Oh, okay. The self-organized tournaments, like we had with the Euro Cup.
How the procedure for that is.
No, not how the procedure is. Okay, we will follow up on that
You
later.
have double the amount of ears and still.
Yes, but I'm kind of like reading the chat and
Yeah,
filtering.
it's crazy out there.
yeah. By
Um,
the way, shout out to the chat. You are really active.
So yes, we're trying to organize some kind of manually held tournaments to try out a couple of ideas, and of course we'll learn things from that, and we'll feed that back into the game design process. So as Sergey said, in the future we will be able to well automate these things.
Well, I mean,
maybe.
that's the thing. Like,
Yep.
we get to that at the point where we realize that it brings the most value and it
Mhm.
will affect the most people. That this is the idea. With all the other ideas that we have on the table, that one will affect the most players.
Yes.
And that one will bring the most value. So it will make the players' gameplay more diverse, more interesting, more deep, or more broad, or whatever. So at this moment in time, as I said, we don't feel like JPA as it was is that thing that will bring the
Yes.
most value and will impact the most players. We want to make sure that the thing that will replace it is more impactful, is more fair, and so on.
Like you said, improving instead of just removing.
Exactly.
All right, Tunnel of Terror. That's
What about it?
every time I say Tunnel of Terror, you have to answer with yes.
He's terrorized.
It's
Because
coming.
like I'm so afraid of like I haven't honestly I haven't finished it myself with my own account. It's just too terrorizing. It's just I'm like no, it's just too scary.
But will it be part of the Halloween event?
That's planned. Yes. So the Tunnel of Terror is going to be back.
Any big changes?
Surprise.
Oh, okay.
Like let's see what happens. We don't want to lay all the cards on the table.
That's probably a good call, because things may change.
Well, things may change, and also we might have even better ideas as we approach the date.
Here's one more question. If we're planning to do kind of a calendar on our webpage where people can see what we have planned for the week, like sales activities, events.
Well,
I mean, I was totally happy when I saw that we have something like that internally. And I've been on the project for 2 years already.
you mean the calendar that will be on the login page, or the calendar that is in the website? Because we do have a calendar there that shows upcoming event games, but it
Yeah.
doesn't show everything.
Yes, like
Might
when-
be we can upgrade it somehow, but still, I mean, in general, like, well, we have a new guy on the team. Like, my impression of that, like the internal homepage, is that it's like it's dated and it should be changed. But what would you say? What
But-
would you say? What like how do you feel? Like
My back hurts.
That's a good feeling.
yeah. So like yeah, it's a good idea. We need to get to that at some point.
Yeah.
But in general, like the whole page that is like this big is problematic for us as designers. We have a lot of information to display. There is not enough space. It's problematic for artists. It's
adding
it's
news
it's
is a
scary
pain
for
sometimes.
it's scary for players, because they're like many players have wider, bigger monitors already, and it's just like, what was that? Like, how do I have to zoom in or something? Like, there is like, as I said, like, we are in the project now. We will have multiple parts with different age, and those
Yeah.
things have to be addressed.
But again, the webpage, in the big scheme of things, it's not really broken. It does what it should. So never change a running system in that
Well,
case.
yeah. On the one hand, but on the other hand, there is always room for enhancement. We just have to make sure that whenever we do stuff like that, it has an impact. It really brings value. It really brings some enhancement to the players' lives. Not just because I'm not a big fan of doing things just because we need to do stuff. If we find that it's valuable, then we'll do it. And as I said, we are hoping that over the course of next, I don't know, 8 months maybe, we'll free up a bit more of capacity, because design will take over a lot more content generation tasks, and then we'll be able to start brushing up on some older systems, because the developers will not be locked down trying to make a new ship, because we will be able to do that ourselves and iterate upon it without involving any developers. That's the grand scheme of things, I would say. Should I have? Maybe I shouldn't have said it.
I was just wondering about my conversation with.
You're talking to someone.
Yes, I've been talking to someone on our chat.
Okay. So when we wait a happy announcement, or?
No, I just no. It's just,
Okay.
When we talk about the calendar though specifically, because I just in my mind something popped up, because we have had some ideas, and again this is like, we don't rush things and do it because it looks the most natural thing to do.
No.
If we at some point decide, hey, the event games actually they're cool, but we want to improve, or like sort of like, especially with the crossover stuff, maybe there's something, I don't know, but you know, there were ideas already about improving that particular system, and if we at the same time sort of like add some sort of, not calendar, but some sort of indicator in the game already that will take care of the calendar thing already, then we don't need the calendar, right? So this is why we don't rush things. We just want to make sure that, you know, that we do the right things for the right reasons.
Yeah. So the things that like wrap up natural, like if we decide to go in and just, okay, we sort out these 3 event games, and then we can say, yeah, and on top of that, as a kind of like a cherry on the cake, we say, and we also update the calendar feature that it works better with the new events or something like that. So that
would be nice.
That's how it generally goes.
Talking about calendar, first of all, time. And the second question is, do we already have a topic for next week? For the week after next?
Oh, people, you have no idea how gaming works. We barely know what we'll do next week.
No, we have great plans, but as
Yeah.
always, we are happy to get the feedback and suggestions on the topics there, like in this chat, on Discord,
Yes.
on
the
Twitch
forums,
chat, on the
social
forums,
media.
on Facebook,
Yep.
even on Twitter. I have no idea if anybody have ever suggested a topic for Twitch stream on Twitter, and
I don't know.
maybe it's the right time to start.
The only person that I know uses Twitter is what's his name again? Kerstangel 2015 or something. He's a very strong
Engaged.
poster and engaged poster on Twitter. I just have one problem. I don't speak Dutch.
Oh well.
So as much as I would like to answer, I can't.
Very true.
Smackelijk.
Oh yeah, and the subreddit /r/DarkOrbit. There are actually things happening there now, so go check it out if you haven't yet. And Discord link below. Register. It's cool.
Yes.
We have so many people there now. Also shout out to Discord. Keep it classy, guys. I don't want to see that stuff happening.
I just asking, Cryfinity, what do you mean with come on learn? Do you mean learn it or learn IT? All caps doesn't make it more readable.
Dutch from the brain.
Oh, Dutch. Yes, I'm sorry.
There we go.
Okay, so
So
we have
that
the next
that would
task
be
for
like
our moderator.
The 10th Twitch request. Community manager should learn Dutch.
Yes. Ik versta Nederlands een beetje, maar ik heb niet de woorden voor een smakelijke sentence. See?
For all you people who
wow.
have no idea, York was just speaking Dutch.
Well, that's not
Amazing.
really That's not
It's
really.
not really Dutch. It's the language you invented. I knew that.
It's a mixture of my hometown dialect and the bit of Dutch that I picked up on the street.
Wow.
You should
Amazing.
pick up things on the street.
Guys, I told you I was growing up close to the Dutch border, so yeah, I'm just not.
It shows.
Nice. Okay, cool. So I guess
been in
that's a
the-
great.
I've been in the sun. I
sentence.
don't look bleak like cheese anymore.
It's very true. Your complexion has improved. Okay, good. I think that is a good sentence to end it on. Yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. We're gonna see all of you in 2 weeks. Replay is going up tomorrow, so post any feedback that you have tomorrow on our social media, Facebook, Discord, all the cool channels we have. And yeah, thank you to our moderators. Awesome job, guys. You had a lot to do today. And yeah, that's it. DarkOrbit out. Bye bye.
Did you miss
Wow.
him?
You
Yay.
missed, you
Yes.
nerd.
I can't see you from here. Come on.
Oh my god.